My wife, Melissa, and I met in college. We were the couple everyone thought would last forever, similar interests, great communication, and genuine care for each other. We both had successful careers. I worked as a software engineer while she built her marketing business. No kids, by mutual choice, but we had our dog, Bruno, who was basically our child. The first sign something was wrong came last September. Melissa started working late, became protective of her phone, and our intimacy practically disappeared. Classic signs, I know, but you never think it'll happen to you. I convinced myself she was just stressed about a big client. Then came the business trip to Chicago that didn't add up. Her social media showed her at a restaurant I didn't recognize, tagged with a location in Denver, not Chicago. When I casually mentioned it, she got defensive, claiming it was an old photo her colleague had posted. But I knew better. It was dated that same day. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I checked her laptop when she was showering. There they were, hundreds of messages between her and someone saved as Mike Work. Except this wasn't work, unless work involved explicit photos and plans to meet at hotels. The messages dated back 6 months. My heart shattered reading them talk about their future together, how she was planning to leave me. That night, I confronted her with what I'd found. I expected tears, apologies, maybe even an attempt to reconcile. Instead, Melissa's face hardened in a way I'd never seen before. You invaded my privacy, she hissed. You think anyone would believe you? I'll tell them you've been abusing me for years. I'll say you hacked my accounts because you're controlling. Who do you think they'll believe? The successful businesswoman or the jealous husband who spends all day behind a computer? I stood there stunned. This wasn't the woman I married. She pulled out her phone and started taking photos of her wrist, twisting it to make it look red. One call, and your life is over, she said coldly. You'll lose everything. The house, your reputation, maybe even your job once I'm done. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to give me the divorce settlement I want, or I'll destroy you. That night, I slept in the guest room, my mind racing. I knew I needed evidence to protect myself. The next day, while Melissa was at work, likely with Mike, I made 2 critical decisions. I called a divorce attorney, and I ordered a security camera system for our home. The next few weeks were the most tense of my life. Living with someone who had just threatened to destroy you is a special kind of hell. We maintained a cold civility in front of others, but behind closed doors, Melissa made it clear what she wanted. The house, half my savings, and ongoing alimony, despite her own successful business. My attorney, Sarah, was a godsend. When I explained my situation, including Melissa's threats, she didn't dismiss me like I feared many would. Unfortunately, I've seen this before, she said grimly. Without evidence, these cases can be devastating for the accused. She advised me to document everything while we built our legal strategy. The camera system I purchased was discreet but comprehensive, small devices that looked like smoke detectors or clock radios. I installed them in common areas only: living room, kitchen, hallways, and the home office we shared. I made sure to avoid bathrooms and bedrooms. I needed evidence, not an invasion of privacy that could backfire legally. I told no one about the cameras except Sarah, who confirmed they were legal in our state as long as they were in common areas of my own home. Keep backups of everything, she warned. And don't let her know they exist until we absolutely need to reveal them. About 3 weeks after installing the cameras, Melissa's plan began to unfold. She started creating a paper trail. I caught her taking photos of herself with fake tears. She began telling friends that she was afraid of my temper. One night, I overheard her on the phone with her mother, spinning tales about how controlling I'd become, how she feared for her safety. The cameras captured her laughing immediately after hanging up. The most chilling incident happened on a Thursday evening. The cameras caught Melissa deliberately slamming her arm into a doorframe, then examining the forming bruise with clinical detachment. The next day, she wore a sleeveless top to lunch with her friends, making sure the bruise was visible. My attorney advised me to maintain normalcy and avoid confrontation at all costs. Don't give her anything real to use against you, Sarah counseled. Following her advice was the hardest thing I've ever done, smiling and pretending everything was fine while someone plotted to destroy my life. Meanwhile, Mike was becoming a more frequent visitor to our house when I was supposedly at work. Little did they know that my business trips were actually me staying at a friend's apartment, monitoring the camera feeds. The footage of their affair was painful to watch, but would prove crucial later. The breaking point came when Melissa began telling colleagues she was thinking of filing a restraining order. One of them, someone who had known us both for years, called me concerned. She showed us bruises, said you'd gotten physical during arguments about money, he said awkwardly. It doesn't sound like you, man. That night, I called Sarah and told her it was time to act. We couldn't wait for Melissa to make the first move with false accusations. The next morning, I filed for divorce on grounds of adultery, with a comprehensive evidence package that would stop her plan in its tracks. Melissa's face when she was served divorce papers at her office was something I'll never forget. She stormed home, screaming that I would regret this. That evening, she put on the performance of a lifetime, smashing a vase against the wall, then calling the police claiming I had thrown it at her during an argument. When the officers arrived, I was calm. I handed them my attorney's card and informed them that the entire incident had been recorded. Their demeanor shifted immediately when they reviewed the footage showing Melissa breaking the vase herself, then deliberately cutting her arm on a shard before making the call. The officers left without arresting me, and Melissa realized her plan had backfired spectacularly. "You've been recording me," she shrieked. "That's illegal. I'll sue you for invasion of privacy." My attorney had prepared me for this. "The recordings are completely legal," I explained. "And they show everything. The self-inflicted bruises, your conversations planning to frame me, and of course, your boyfriend's frequent visits while I was supposedly at work." The divorce proceedings moved quickly after that. When Melissa's attorney saw our evidence, he practically begged for a settlement conference. The videos not only exposed her affair, but documented multiple instances of her planning to file false abuse allegations. The judge was particularly troubled by the footage of Melissa coaching Mike on what to say if questioned about bruises she had given herself. "This is one of the most calculated attempts to abuse the legal system I've seen in my courtroom," he said during the final hearing. "In the end, I kept the house, my retirement accounts, and full custody of Bruno." Melissa's attempt to claim alimony was rejected outright. Her reputation took a serious hit when several mutual friends saw the evidence and cut ties with her. Mike disappeared from the picture as soon as he realized there would be no financial windfall. The aftermath was surreal. For months, I had lived in fear of being labeled an abuser, losing everything I'd worked for, and having my reputation destroyed. Instead, I emerged with my assets intact and the truth on my side. Several men in similar situations have since reached out to me for advice after hearing my story through mutual connections. It's been 4 months since the divorce was finalized. I've started therapy to process everything that happened. The trust issues will take time to work through, but I'm getting there. I've decided to sell the house, too many bad memories, and am looking at apartments closer to downtown. Bruno and I are doing well. I've reconnected with friends I had drifted away from during the marriage and started rock climbing again, a hobby Melissa had discouraged. As for Melissa, I heard she moved to another state for a fresh start. I wish I could say I feel vindicated, but mostly I feel sad about the years wasted with someone who could become so vindictive. The woman I married wasn't real. If there's any lesson here, it's to trust your instincts and protect yourself. Document everything. And remember that security cameras are a lot cheaper than losing everything in a divorce. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.